Oh man, what's going on? What's going on, y'all, man? Oh, it's gonna be a long week, man. It's gonna be a long week. So I know most of you guys already know, man. Miami's schedule gonna be rescheduled. Basically, we're not playing no more football for the month of November. COVID-19 finally caught up to us. So yeah, I hope we move past COVID too. Like this season, it's been controversial due to COVID, but it is what it is. Y'all give me 1 second. Yo, what's going on with you, J Play? What's going on, Nick? Yeah, so it's terrible news, man. Now, today in the press conference, Manny was talking about the Virginia Tech game, and then they was talking about how we almost didn't have enough players to play against Virginia Tech. So, Miami was down 13 players already. Now, Virginia Tech, not Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech and Pitt was supposed to play this week, but they canceled their game based on, Rona. So now basically, it's finally caught up to Miami too. So for the next 2 weeks or so, we're not gonna be playing no football, which is gonna be pretty much terrible for us Miami fans, because week in and week out, we tune in to watch our team play. So I know I'm not gonna go outside and watch the grass grow this Saturday coming and next Saturday coming. So I think what could happen, we could watch all the teams that basically jumped Miami this week. We could watch those teams and see what the hype about around them. Hopefully, most of them will lose, so we could go right back up in the rankings. Now, we beat Virginia Tech this week, and basically we dropped in the rankings. We went from number 9 to number 12. I ain't making no excuse for that. Basically, we beating them by that small of a margin made us drop. Um, I'm not saying that teams like Wisconsin and Indiana, I'm not saying they're better than us. I'm just saying that their wins this weekend was more dominant than our wins, due to the fact that Virginia Tech basically lost the week before to Liberty. So that kind of made it look bad on our behalf, beating them only by 1. But this week I bought tickets to the Georgia Tech game, and I was supposed to be there, for the 8 o'clock game in Georgia Tech. So that's not gonna happen. They're gonna move that game. So now, Miami would have played Georgia Tech. That would have been a home game. Because we've been on the road for the past last 3 games. So now that we're going on the road, basically we're going when we come back to play December 5th, that's a road game against Wake Forest. So instead of bringing it home against Georgia Tech, we're going back out on the road again against Wake Forest. So our road game stretch is going to be even longer. But it is what it is, man. He said, "Was happening for Miami? I just can't wait." Yeah, man. It's gonna be a long minute. It's gonna be a little minute before we play again. 2 weeks. For me, the bye weeks they feel like forever. So to be off for 2 weeks straight, it's gonna be a tough stretch. Especially, but college football goes on regardless. So we just gotta see how other teams play out. Hopefully, the teams in the top 10. Hopefully they play these games. Hopefully they lose or they look bad, and then we could see how it feels to sit home and move up in the rankings like half of these other teams did. But we got to be dominant, plain and simple. We can't make no excuses. We got to be dominant. We got to beat teams that we're supposed to beat. We got to dominate them. The game against Georgia Tech that was supposed to be played that's not being played. And we was a 19-point favorite in that game. So teams like that, when they got us as you know they got us as the favorite, we got to go out there and beat them in dominant fashion. Going into the Virginia Tech game, to me was a slap in the face that we was the underdog, especially seeing that Virginia Tech had lost to Liberty the week before. I'm like, why are we considered the underdog in that game? We're sitting at 6-1, but yet we're the underdogs. We need 2 weeks to figure out who ride the bench or not. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, watching the game against Virginia Tech, I think that I think I think the lineup is gonna switch up a little bit. I know I know Donaldson on the O line. I know he's ready to go, so we should see some shift in that O line too. What's going on with you, Slim? Yeah, man. But basically, Miami's not playing until December 5th. COVID-19 finally caught up with Miami, so for the next 2 weeks, we will be watching all the other conference play. I mean, even the ACC, we'll watch that out and see how it go. Hopefully Notre Dame plays. Hopefully Clemson plays. Those teams. Now Florida State versus Notre Dame. I guess that'll be the game to tune into this week. I guess the SEC teams they'll play if they play because the SEC went through similar things this past weekend where they had like 4 games canceled. So hopefully they play their games this week. If not, it's going to be a long week for college football. We might have to literally watch the Big 12 and the Big 10 or in the Pac 12. You say how far you think we drop with 2 weeks off? We shouldn't drop at all. We shouldn't drop at all. We should not be dropping at all. We should be either staying right where we at or moving up based on losses on teams in the top 10. So we shouldn't. Ain't no way we should be dropping. If we dropping, being 2 weeks off, then it's something wrong. Sitting at 7-1, we dropping and we're not playing. Then there's something wrong with that system because there's teams that wasn't even playing like Ohio State and they were still sitting in the top 10 the whole time they wasn't even playing. So that'll be a total slap in the face if we drop at all during this 2 weeks off. We need to see who be on the O line. Hopefully these 2 weeks, man. Like I said, hopefully these 2 weeks get our players healthy, and they'll go back out there. Hopefully these numbers will drop because, like Manny said in his interview, we was almost at the point of canceling the Virginia Tech game. So COVID-19 finally caught up to us. What's going on with you, Miami boy? I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Anybody want to come in and give their thoughts? Maybe give me some ideas on what to do for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, but the link's in the chat. Hurricane Millie said wins feel like losses. Bro, it's hard to explain this to people, man. I keep telling them that last one we got, it felt like a 2017-ish feeling. Feel like we winning games, but at the same time, it feels like we barely escaping losses at the same time too. What's going on, Slim?
What's going on, boss?
What's going on with you, man?
Another day in paradise, boss.
So how you feeling about this, man? 2 weeks off.
I mean, I don't like it. I want to see him play, but I I was just sitting there listening to you a minute ago. I'm trying to figure out where's the slap in the face and the disrespect. I don't see it.
Hey, what I'm saying is the disrespect would be us sitting at home and dropping in the rankings when other teams haven't even been playing or anything. I mean, look at Wisconsin and those teams. They're 2-0, 3-0, whatever, and they're ranked higher than us. We're 7-1. So I'm saying if we're sitting at home for 2 weeks and we drop, now that's total disrespect.
I mean, do you now watching them play? Do you not think Wisconsin's a better team than us?
It's hard to tell based off just 2 games, though.
Okay.
It's
Do you
hard to
think
tell. Give
Ohio
them
State's a better team than us?
because if you look at who Wisconsin played, they played Michigan. Michigan looked terrible, so they beat them dominantly. So it's still a big win. It's a dominant win. They beat a bad team, but they dominate them.
Right.
That's what I wanted Miami to do with Virginia Tech. But let's see if they continue that dominance because, like I said, it's only 2 games. Now,
Well,
if they continue to dominate the way that they are, then I can't make no excuse to why they rank higher than us.
and that's exactly why I'm not mad about us dropping. We should, if this team played up to its potential, they should have blown out Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's, they're not a bad team, but they're not a good team either. So we should have won that game playing up to our potential by 2 scores.
Yeah,
But they didn't do it.
and that's what I was trying to tell Zoe earlier too. That basically, if Miami went out and won that game outright with no questions, we wouldn't have moved in the rankings. We would not have dropped. Everything would have stayed exactly where it was. But when it come down to the stretch and teams, you're not beating teams the way that you're supposed to. You're not knocking them out the way that they lost to Liberty the week before. That makes it even worse. And we went out there and we barely escaped with that win. So I mean, I'm glad that we won because like I said, when we trying to rise, it's better winning than losing. But some of these games when you expect, I mean, the world was expecting us to lose this game by what, 2 points according to Vegas. But
Yeah.
we knew as a fan base that we still had to beat them dominantly. We are a top ranked team. We're in the top 10. We're in rank number 9. They're not even ranked at all.
Okay,
We're-
but do you
even
actually
though
think we were a top 10 team?
The record don't lie. The record don't lie. Versus all the teams we played, it's been wins. It ain't been the most dominant wins, but we still 7-1, and the only team we lost to was Clemson.
Well,
So-
there's a reason Marshall's not ranked higher than they are, and they're undefeated. There's a reason Cincinnati's not ranked higher than they are, and they're undefeated because they're
But
playing that
But we
competition.
as a whole college football family, we know why they not moved, why those teams aren't where they are. We know it's the Power 5 deal. We know it's their conference is this and that. We know that.
But they're blowing everybody out.
But we're in the Power 5. So they're gonna give all the teams in the Power 5 a heads up over all those teams. So we already know that.
I don't disagree with you. But my point is, despite that ranking, they're not a top 10 team.
Right.
Do you think that there's more than 10 teams in America that we line up against right now and we lose? I do.
I mean, playing like we did last week, I wouldn't question it now. But then again, I'm trying not to put the corona feeling into it because this season it's like you can't use it as an excuse. You want to, that you're down 13 players, but any team could be down any amount of players. So it's like you can't even use that excuse. So me wanting to say that, we didn't beat them the way we were supposed to beat them because we didn't have 13 players was like,
They got players sitting out too.
yeah. So it's hard not to say that. Now, if we went in there as a full team and they had a full team, no problems, and then we win by 1 point, then I could go into like, okay, I could fully assess what's going on. But right now it's tough. But 1 point win nonetheless. That's what we got.
And right now, we should take that 1 point win. I think what Manny says, as far as the team, not even looking at rankings, not even considering it, for this year is what the fan base needs to do.
And Manny came out today in press conference and said it plain and simple. We not elite. We trying to get there, but we nowhere near there right now. And the players know that. And he said they excited. They working harder to get there. Even the Will Muschamp thing. Will Muschamp, they was talking about the South Carolina job. Reed Lashley was questioned about it. Would he be interested or whatever? Reed Lashley said he's firm. He likes where he is, and it is what it is. But when it comes to those situations, coaches will say this and that because that's what they're supposed to say. But I'm guaranteeing you, the money is right and everything. He might go.
Well, I tell you this: 12 hours before Nick Saban landed in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, he was in a press conference saying, "I'm the Miami Dolphins head coach."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And no coaches in history ever actually told a program, "Yeah, I'm leaving y'all. I'm gonna go take this," until they actually do. But Reed Lashley's name is brought up for that job, for that South Carolina job. Other names I've been hearing about is what's the guy from Clemson? The black dude from Clemson. I think he's the offensive coordinator. Elliott. Yeah, his name is being thrown in there too.
And they may already have their coach. Their offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo, is going to be the interim head coach, and that very well may be who they hire.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, he'll finish out the season with them, but I've been hearing a lot of names tossed up in there because even Lee Corso and not Lee Corso, what's the guy's name? Kurt Herbstreit. Kurt Herbstreit threw Reed Lashley name in there, so that kind of cost us a little stir. That's why when they did a press conference today, all those guys want to ask Reed Lashley, is he going to leave? Is he going to, consider taking the South Carolina job? Is, being a head coach one of his dreams or whatever? He said he loved Miami. They want to live comfortable and all that, and they love it down there. So we'll see how that develops.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. South Carolina can have him for all I care. He ain't done nothing to impress me. Nothing. Eric King's done plenty to impress me, but he ain't done nothing to impress
me. Big Earl says South Carolina should hire Blake Baker.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. I've seen more progress out of Blake Baker this year than I have Rhett Lashley.
Like I said, man, in the beginning, I kind of let Reed Lashley do his thing. I didn't say much on him. But even in my recent videos, I said Reed Lashley got to show some more consistencies. And you know what? You know what I do like about him? When they play like when they play terrible, he owns up to it. He admits it. He go back to the drawing board. He's not like these other coaches that make excuses around each and every question. When we got beat by Clemson, he said it straight up in the press conference. We got our ass whooped. We got beat. They whooped
What else could you say after that?
Exactly. But all the other coaches, when you listen to their press conference, it's excuse after excuse and everything. The man's just straight up. That's what I like about him. But, inconsistencies. It is what it is.
I ain't worried about what you say in a press conference. I can care less about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Go out there, improve, show us. Don't tell us, show us. But, sometimes it ain't always on the coaches. Sometimes it's the players, too.
Oh, no. I don't know how many times I said that last year. Oh, no, you full of shit. You full of shit. Okay.
Ray said Reed Lashley play calling is terrible.
Man, you know what it is? The same damn thing as Dan Enos' play calling. He likes that read option, he likes a bubble screen, and he likes the short side of the field. But nobody wants to call that out for some reason.
You know why they don't call it out? because eventually he do so much so fast to the point where defenses get tired, and then we pull it off in the end. So nobody questioned these kind of things when we winning.
Only because De'Aaron King is keeping drives alive,
Now
and
let
Jaron
now
couldn't.
let me say this: we win by 1 point to Virginia Tech. I was pissed about it. I make a video and I got bash. I got some bashing for it. Now the next day come out the rankings, and basically we dropped in the rankings. So now people starting to see why I was so mad, because I seen a Wisconsin team and I seen Indiana team beat the other teams that you know. Indiana won 24-0. Wisconsin beat Michigan like what 59 is what was it 11?
Oh, that was ugly.
Yeah, something like that. So they blew out the teams that they played, and they were sitting right behind us in the rankings. So
Yep.
I already knew with our 1 point win, even though it was Virginia Tech, even though it was a rivalry, the community do not care nothing about that. They just looking at we didn't get no star points basically.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. That's you got ugly points instead of style points.
Exactly. We looked it terrible to them. This season, a lot of people been saying we're down this many players. These players are out because of COVID. The committee is not considering none of that. They're not looking at that because they know every team this season has that same issue. That's why when we lost that game, everybody's telling me like, "Yo, don't disrespect Miami." I'm like, "Bro, I'm not disrespecting Miami. I'm giving my point of view. I'm letting you guys know. Hey, I'm one of the biggest Miami Hurricane fans I know. If nobody mess with me in Miami, I'm still gonna be a Miami Hurricane fan. I'm gonna be a Hurricane fan for the rest of my life. But when my team is not playing up to where my expectations are, or we supposed to be moving towards, being dominant again, I could call that out. You don't have to agree with me. You could disagree with me, but at the same time, if you see what I see, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's like I'll use a perfect example. All last year, and I got killed for it. I called out the effort of the players. Oh no, we can't call out players. No, this, that, and another. What did we hear out of Mike Harvey a week ago? Well, we ain't been putting in that extra work.
Right. And that's
Effort.
another thing too. That's another thing too. And then after he said that, and he took a lot of heat, we start seeing a different wide receiving court. So that means what he was saying was true. They weren't putting in no effort. Now, Rob Lightning said that they were. He never seen them slacking off, and he would never allow that. But for him to come out and say that, and then after he said that, then we start seeing the wide receivers taking off now. It's like that competition been put under them, and now all of a sudden, boom, we getting plays from our wide receivers.
Now, let's hope they learn the lesson and continue to do that. Otherwise, here in a couple weeks, we have to deal with the same thing all over again.
Right. Now, these next 2 weeks, it depends on what they're doing. How is practice gonna go? Who's quarantined? Who are the players that's out? What kind of impact do they have on the team right now?
Over the
That's
next
the
2 weeks, if I understood it right when I read it, basically there isn't going to be practice. Guys are going to basically be working for the most part on their own.
You said T2. I go back and look at
everybody's having a quarantine, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at that on Lenoir. That touchdown that Cameron ran, I'm gonna take a look at it. But like I said, man, he's saying that basically the O line, finally did something extra to actually, put a little bit more effort into playing, and basically a touchdown was the result of it.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it was blatantly obvious last year when and as far as I'm concerned, there's no other explanation because when you line up against FIU on the 1 yard line and they stuff you, that's nothing but effort. That's all that is. You can't get a yard on Florida International University. There ain't no coaching. That ain't no play calling. That's all effort because those are at least we have at least twice the talent player for player, at least.
Yeah, man, it's crazy sometimes. I mean, I had a Miami Hurricane fan tell me I'm disrespecting Miami for giving my opinion.
Well,
for
we
us.
live in a world in this day and age where people get mad when other folks' opinions aren't the same as theirs.
And that's what I've always said on this channel. If you got an opinion, you can make it. You don't necessarily have to agree with me. I don't have to agree with you, but I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna sit there fight and cuss with you, this and that. It is what it is. I'm not always right. I got my feelings on things. You got your feelings on things. At the end of the day, we meet in the middle. If you don't agree with me, then we can agree to disagree. But I'm not gonna, have no bad blood with nobody over a disagreement.
Exactly.
Man, it's crazy, man. But the next 2 weeks, man, what you gonna be doing?
Man, I'll be watching the rest of college football, whatever good games I can find on, or whatever games I can find on. Period. Because I was listening to Lou this morning, and some people's feelings may turn out to be right. That this is starting to get so bad with some, they may end up calling the season off.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. I'm hoping it don't get to that point because watching the SEC
I hope
cancel 4 games last week, and then watching Ohio State not play Maryland, then nah, this time around it's Miami. I mean, even in the beginning of the season, Virginia Tech, Virginia, all those guys, they were canceling games too.
I mean, look at the very first week of the Pac-12 start. All but 2 games were canceled.
Yep. I mean, and that's been going on in the Pac-12 for the longest too. They haven't had complete games. Some weeks they'll have like 2 or 3 games not being played.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough to see the season through. I mean, so far we ate as the ACC. We 8 games in. We just got 3 more games to get through. But that down that stretch, if the other conference ain't in, we might. I don't know. ACC championship might be as far as it goes.
Well, and you can already just going by the date of that last game, that Georgia Tech game's on the 19th. That's the same day as the ACC championship game.
Yep. I mean,
That
if we're
are that,
playing on the
that
19th,
we ain't playing in the ACC championship.
yeah, if we end up playing on the 19th, if all the other teams end up scheduling games on the 19th and it's not the ACC championship, then they might move that game. But if not, then we'll just be playing out our regular season while the ACC championship is going on.
I think that's what, because the SEC is doing the same thing. Their games, like for teams like LSU's had 2 games postponed. The December 12th was the week they had built in to make up games on, same as us. But they're going to do games on the 19th as well, so teams can get a full schedule of games in.
Right. So, I mean, Mr. HD said Miami having canceled 2 weeks of season immediately after playing past weekend should tell you how depleted we were. Yeah, I mean, 13 players down, that just means it got worse. For them to cancel it got worse. Or, Georgia Tech wasn't playing this weekend either. They were scheduled to play Pitt. So their situation may have got worse too, to the point where they say, you know what? let's just both reschedule. It'll benefit both of us, which is kind of crazy because I was recording a video and then Zoe went live, so I just put that video on pause because I was doing my whole Georgia Tech video, which now I'm gonna have to scrap all that or just continue that video later. But now I got to move on to Wake Forest, but that's not even in 2 weeks. It's just college football, man. 2020, you never know what you'll get. 1 minute we arguing about where we at in rankings. Next thing you know, boom, we're not playing for 2 weeks. Because I mean, literally like 5 minutes ago, before I even got on this live or anything like that, we was in Zoe chat. We was arguing about where we should be in the rankings, why we dropped, or what's going on, and then boom, canceled. We're not playing. You there, Slim?
Yeah, I hit the dead spot.
Okay, there you go.
It knocked it out.
Yeah, like I was saying, 5 minutes ago we was arguing with Zoe about, why Miami dropped in the rankings and stuff like that. And next thing, all of a sudden, we ain't playing. Because I bought tickets to that game, to the Georgia Tech game. So, what happened last time? Yeah, what happened last time with the StubHub? I bought my ticket with StubHub. So, what they'll do is they'll move the funds from that money. They'll basically give it to me as like a like, what's the word for it? I don't even know the word for it. But basically, the money will be given back to me, and I can use it to buy something else, whatever. And what I like about that too, because my ticket was 75, so now when they give me back the money, they always give you a higher percentage on it. So let's say I spent $50 on a ticket, they might give me 75 to spend.
Hell, when I bought my back in 2017, I bought tickets through them and they just refunded me because I bought tickets to that Arkansas State game that got canceled.
Yeah, I mean, you could get the refund. I could get the refund, or I could take the credit plus 25%. So what I'll do, I'll take the credit plus 25% because now I can get better seats.
See, they didn't even offer me that.
Yeah, it's a COVID-19. It's a COVID thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
and plus, yeah. I've been a member with StubHub for since about 2013. I've been going to Miami games since 2013 through StubHub. So I mean, it might be a benefit that they're doing.
It might be, yeah, because I buy my tickets with whoever's cheaper, whether it's StubHub, SeatGeek, whoever. I don't care.
Yeah, Ticketmaster, all of them.
Yeah, hell, when I went to the Wake Forest game in 2000, hell, I think that was 2009. I went to that one. I just bought them directly from Wake Forest because they were cheaper.
Yeah, that's the thing too. The North says in the state of Florida, especially Miami, COVID picked back up. It picked back up because I mean they opened up everything, and I mean everybody's. I see people partying. To be honest with you, I see a lot of clubs and shit going on. I don't know what.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody's acting surprised because they opened back up and the numbers were picking up. Well, that's going to happen. They know that. But then they act all surprised like we're going to lock everything back down just because the numbers are going back up. Well, no, that's going to happen.
Yeah. See, me, I'm a homebody, so all this COVID-19 stuff don't affect me.
Well, it hasn't affected me neither because the state of Tennessee never really locked down.
Yeah.
And Tennessee really hadn't had any problems. Not really.
Yeah, what you're going to see soon is that this whole vaccine thing that they're working on, they're going to start making that shit mandatory.
Yeah, you want to bet?
That's probably what's going to happen.
You You want to bet?
Nah, I don't want to bet.
I will bet you every last dollar I have they can't make that vaccine mandatory.
Because what I've been hearing, like these vaccine that they're making is it hasn't even really been tested. Normally vaccines will take what 5 years and so these are things that's being said by the experts, but they rushing this thing out. And not only that too, they're making it to where if something happened to you or anything like that, you can't sue or nothing.
Once again, legally they can't make the vaccine mandatory. That's just like Joe Biden say he's gonna make it mandatory that everybody wear masks. He can't do that legally, so that's just him bumping his gun.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy though. The COVID-19 has been picking up, but the whole hazard pay and all that stuff going out the window. That stuff has gone out the window, man.
Well, I never stopped working. You didn't get hazard pay for working.
Yeah, I was getting it for a while, and then they stopped doing it.
I got my regular paycheck.
Yeah, with my work, my line of work, I got to go from store to store. I got to go from Walmart, Publix's, and all those other places. So I'm in and out, and I'm always in danger or whatever. So they considered us hazardous, whatever, gave us hazard pay because I was seeing it for a long time, and then all of a sudden they stopped doing it. So I was like, okay. But I mean, if numbers going back up and people are catching this shit, and we out there like that, they might as well kick it back in. I won't mind taking extra money.
Well, I mean, I know you wouldn't, and I wouldn't either. But honestly, they should quit on this bullshit, open everything back up, and be done with it.
Because we never,
That's all it is.
we
Yeah, man, it's tough. COVID-19 been affecting pretty much everywhere, and as a college football family, we can see that firsthand.
Well,
it's finally really affected us.
It's not just that. I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't matter what it does. This world's gonna keep spinning.
See, I wish I was like Lenore. Lenore said, "I work for solid waste. We get an extra $400 a month." We started out getting paid extra, but then it stopped because I was getting an extra. I think it was like 100 and something every week. I think it was like 175 every week. I was getting extra, and then boom, none stopped. So I went from getting an extra almost what 600-700 a month, and then all of a sudden it stopped. So I was like, well, thank God I didn't take that money and waste it. Miami boy say I work at the hospital. Shit is really real.
I don't think anybody's saying it's not real. I don't think anybody's saying that.
Yeah, no. I mean, even with me, when I went to the hospital when earlier on in the year, when they basically said I had what you call it? What's it? I can't even remember the name now. Pneumonia. And when I was in there, they was like basically telling me, man, hey, anybody who come in here, make sure they change their gloves, make sure I request and do all of that because they dealing with these patients and shit. And then, but what really got me with the hospital though, even though I wasn't diagnosed with COVID, they put in the records that I did. So that kind of threw my head a little bit to the point where I thought that they was trying to spike the numbers.
Well, certain places, you have to figure if it's, and Miami boy can probably attest to this because I've heard it from several people I know that work in hospitals. They get more money from the government for every COVID patient they have.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking they were doing. Which in my case, they called me up and told me, whatever bills that I had basically got thrown out because of that. So any doctor's visits and anything like that, I would have to do after I got out. All that would be refunded and thrown out, whatever.
See,
No.
I'll tell you when I stopped paying attention to this and threw my hands up and had enough, they were saying the number was at 150,000 deaths. I was looking at CDC's website.
Um,
And 140,000 of them were all over 60 years old.
Ty, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. It depends on what I'm doing. After New Year's, I might go. He's asking if I'm going to the Slob Olympics. I might go.
Oh hell, my room's already booked.
Yeah, I might go, but right now I'm not sure. I'm trying to wait till this year is over, see what's going on with this whole COVID thing and all of that. So if everything goes smoothly and this thing clears up and stuff, then I'll definitely go to Atlanta. I'll take that weekend. I'll do it. I'll go that weekend. I'll just take a couple of days off from work during the week. That way, when I come back, I'll just go back to normal.
Here's the thing. It ain't gonna be cleared up next year, or the year after that, or even the year after that. Remember the beginning of this? Everybody was talking about that Spanish flu of 1918. You know we're still dealing with that today.
Wow.
It's called the common cold. What it's becoming. I'm 100% serious. It over time it's gotten so much weaker that today it's just cold. It's a cold bug.
Like I've been saying, this whole COVID thing, it's tough to call it. I mean, when it first came out, they were telling us, "Oh, the old people got to worry about it." Now it's everybody got to worry about it. Now it's children, it don't affect them. Now it's like something different every time.
It's still the same as it was originally. For a general rule of fact is the old people are the ones that have to worry about it. Well, old people have already got a lot of things wrong with them.
Yeah,
that's why they have to worry about it.
And guess who run this United States of America?
Well, hell, Trump got it. He seemed like he was all right.
I still don't know if I believe that. I still don't know if I believe that. I'm starting to think that was just political.
I don't know, man. He missed a couple days of that spray tan. He wasn't looking so orange.
Oh no, man. I think I thought they put him up to it to make the world feel like, this is serious. Take it serious.
Man, how the hell are you a 70-year-old man eating 2 fillet of fish a day? And you still run around? Man, that motherfucker's a freak of nature. I'll give him that.
Like I said, this whole thing was questionable. This whole COVID-19 thing, the China virus. Oh my God, the China virus.
I like that.
I'm glad he stuck it to China. I'll tell you that much. China, I heard China was trying to give it off to Africa. It was throwing to mistreat Africans in China based on it. When Trump started calling it the China virus, but them trying to deflect it didn't work.
No, that they wasn't. They were. What you're talking about, those weren't necessarily Africans. Those are Uyghur Muslims in China, and they're putting those people in concentration camps and sterilizing them.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of Africans are speaking about other Africans in there, but it's tough, man.
That's why a lot of times I say what I say about LeBron James, because that motherfucker wants to run his mouth until that money flow from China's involved, and then he closes his mouth real quick.
China virus. Yeah, the China virus is messing with my college football, man. God damn.
Bastards. Nuke them.
I don't think we want to do that, though.
Nuke them.
I don't think we want to do that. I think too much of our resources come from China to be even thinking about nuking them.
It'd be all right. All the shit that comes from China's fucked up anyway.
Maybe I'm just immaturely thinking, but how the hell we owe China so much damn money?
Because the United States government has decided to live off of credit.
My thing is too, we owe China so much damn money. China can't come take it if they wanted it anyway. China don't have the military or the force necessary to even take money from us. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say that.
You think they could take us? The most powerful military in the whole wide world?
I think it's arrogant to think that you can be beat.
Right.
Let's be honest. My grandfather served Vietnam.
When you done with your own thing, you got a left one.
You still there, Slim?
Yeah, I'm here. I never went anywhere.
Oh, I just heard you say Vietnam.
I said my grandfather was in Vietnam, and we got beat.
All right. I mean, even till today, a lot of Americans don't want to admit that too.
They don't.
But I mean, it is what it is. You can't fight them on their own land when they hiding in landmines everywhere and all that.
Well, that wasn't even necessarily it. The problem there is they had to deal with the same rules of engagement that they're having to deal with now. And I mean, you can't expect to beat somebody when you're going into the ring with both hands tied behind your back.
Right.
And that's a lot of what they're doing to the soldiers with government regulations as far as the rules of engagement. I mean, you know, if you're going in there, it sounds good on TV to say you can't fire on somebody until you've been fired upon, but
yeah, what if that first fired upon kills you?
Well, not even that. Look at what we're dealing with now. You're talking about people that are not in uniform mixed in with civilians.
Oh, trust me, yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst kind of anxiety you want. You don't want that. Everybody in front of you could be a potential danger.
Exactly.
You could be walking through an innocent crowd, but your mind is bobbling right now. At any given moment, one of these people in here could, shoot at me or blow up.
I mean, I don't disagree with you that it's the most powerful military in the world, but how long have we been in Afghanistan and they still can't maintain control of it?
I think there's so many rules when it comes to war nowadays that weren't around before that kind of keeps you in places like that forever.
You're absolutely right. You're 100%
right. If it was like way back in the days, we would have just went in there and half the shit that happened would have got covered up or would have never came to light.
Well, I don't even want to say necessarily covered up, but it's war. There are casualties.
Right.
It's just a fact of war.
Yeah.
And when a person makes a decision not to evacuate from an area because you're trying to clear out
you need to eat.
hostiles, you've taken that risk upon yourself.
Hey, Miami Boy says, what is the Slob Olympics? All right, so basically the Slob Olympics is an event that Uncle Lou is hosting in Atlanta, Georgia, right? Or is it Athens?
It's Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta, Georgia. I forgot what park it is.
Centennial Park is that Olympic Park.
Yeah, but it's basically a bunch of different, college football YouTubers meet up and do some crazy events, make videos together and stuff like that.
It's an excuse for everybody to basically meet up.
Yeah, and basically have a good time for a weekend, and it'll be great to do some videos and some collabs too.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still thinking about it, depending on what the country is going through at that time.
BVD will be there, Uncle Lou will be there, Pigskin Pete will be there. They got a whole
Yeah.
I actually was hanging out with BBD this past weekend.
Oh yeah, I seen the picture he posted on his live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went out to Neyland Stadium, checked it out, which it looked complete. I've been to Neyland Stadium for a game, but that was like 20 years ago. It was it was almost 20 years ago. It was the 0-2 game where Miami came up to Knoxville and played Tennessee.
All right.
Okay, I need it.
Man, but COVID-19 has finally struck Miami, man. Damn. This is gonna be the I'm gonna be a troll for the next 2 weeks, man. I'm gonna be a straight up troll.
Ain't nothing else to do.
I'm telling you, Georgia lose, Florida lose, Tennessee lose, FSU definitely gonna lose. I'm gonna be trolling these teams, man. I'm gonna need something to get by. I'm gonna need something to make me get past these 2 weeks because I'm not going outside to watch the grass grow. I'm not doing that.
I don't know, man. Grass ain't growing at my house. It was about 40 degrees when I left.
Oh man. Dang.
It's a little chilly in Memphis.
I mean, bye weeks are killers. Bye weeks for me watching the bye week go by, it's like breathtaking. It's like, oh, when hurry up, please get to the next week. And then Friday come around, I'll be like, all right, okay. But now I gotta wait 2-3 weeks. Golly, man. This week just begun too.
And you know what? Ain't no guarantees that it's gonna be played in 2 weeks.
Oh man, don't say that. Don't say that. Cause then I'm definitely in here watching the rest of everybody's games. I might even watch the NFL then. Shit. I might even watch some I might end up watching the games that I didn't get to watch. Like going back and watching full games on YouTube.
I've been doing that shit for years.
Because I was actually working on that Georgia Tech video, man. I was trying to think of some clever stuff to put into it, especially in the beginning of it. I guess since I won't put it out for a while, I'll just play the beginning of the video, like the first 30 seconds of it.
You want some ideas? If you want some ideas on how to troll Georgia Tech in the videos,
but that's how the video is.
You can see flying by, there are so many yellow jacket hornets. These are really aggressive, and in this video, I'm going to dig up a nest and then show you the best ways to trap these. Now, these are so plentiful. I'm scared to have my kids go outside. They're really aggressive, and they will sting. They're not like the usual honeybee. They can sting multiple times without dying. I found a nest behind my house. These things typically live underground in a big paper nest. They use an old hole or mouse hole, and they're protected underground. But with this shovel, I'm going to dig it up.
Oh, my God, man. But basically what I was going to go, because I've been telling people to send me pictures in their Miami Hurricane stuff to my email address so I could put them in the background of the green screen. So when I make the videos, they could show up on the background. But I'm going to put my email in the chat. Y'all send y'all pictures, man. Send y'all pictures when y'all Miami Hurricane stuff so I can put them in the background of the videos when I make them.
Hey, put it in the description of your video.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat right now, too. And I'm going to put it in the description.
Yeah, because I'll have to go back and get it out of the description later.
Yeah, so far, I forgot to put .com. And I spelled Gmail wrong. What is wrong with me?
¿Qué coño?
Hey.
But you want some ideas on how to make troll videos for Georgia Tech? Go back and search some of Uncle Lou's old ones. Man, he's got some gold in there where he roasted Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but I'm trying to keep it original, so that's why I'm trying to stay away from social media completely with the whole Georgia Tech thing. I'm trying to make it,
but you can get some ideas from it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But hold on, let me try. Like, you see in the background of the video?
Yeah.
That's a fan that sent me the picture. I'm kind of covering the baby that he has in the picture because I don't want to have the kids on there too. Because YouTube now I'm not even gonna put my kids in the videos anymore. And see, that's Nick.
Underground in a big paper nest. They use an old hole or mouse hole, and they're protected.
But basically, yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. Is have have Miami Hurricane fans in they Miami Hurricane gear and stuff like that. Put their pictures in the green screen instead of me sitting and y'all seeing the green screen behind me. Y'all would see, y'all self. And what I would do, I'd make it like a collage or like a slideshow. So when I make those videos, it'll play in the background instead of me just sitting in front of the green screen. Because some of those videos when I make in front of the green screen, I don't put nothing behind me.
Yeah.
It'll just be a quick video like, let me get this information out.
Or you sitting in your car or something.
Yeah. And I don't have time to basically edit it. But 2 weeks, man. 2 weeks.
Tampa Bay better win for the next 2 weeks. I know that.
Lenoir must have been talking to this guy, man. He said Clemson lose to Florida State.
Man, let me tell you something. Clemson and Notre Dame play again in the ACC title game. Clemson going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Man, Clemson going to mollywop Notre Dame. Notre Dame got to look at it. Y'all was okay. Clemson was not. Clemson come back and they fully equipped. They're going to beat the brakes off Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah. When they get neck roll back on defense, man, he gonna eat up those tight ends in the book.
It's tough watching us play teams like Virginia Tech and winning like that. I understand that we down players, but it's tough watching us beat them like that when we should be dominating them. A team that lose to Liberty the week before, we should have been dominating.
Well, here's the thing. You're right. They should be dominating, but they're not going to dominate right off of a 6-6 season. When you're changing, supposedly going to change offensive philosophies, they really didn't end up doing it. But it's and I know some people don't agree with it, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're constantly changing head coaches, coordinators, position coaches.
You going in and out.
I said when you're constantly turning over coaches, whether it's coordinators, head coaches, position coaches, you're not going to develop players. That's why these 4- and 5-star wide receivers are not playing like 4- and 5-star wide receivers.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been a tough, long season, but I'm just glad we're winning. Because it would have been a worse season if we was losing.
But you also have to be honest. Yeah, we're winning, but this is 2017 all over again. We're getting by against bad teams.
You say we ain't consistently changing coaches. We are consistently hiring bums, and they have to go. Oh man.
Everybody, you can say everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you don't know what coach is what in a year. You don't know what coach is what. Most of the time, even in 3 years, you just don't.
Look at Will Muschamp at South Carolina. The record against Clemson, 0-4. His had what? What was his record last season? 4-8.
Okay, you realize that Dabo just got back to 500 against South Carolina, right?
Yeah,
Dabo lost his first 5 games against South Carolina.
Yeah, but my thing with Muschamp, his seasons, his 4 seasons was just all over the place.
Well, no, they were all bad. They wasn't all over the place. They were all bad.
Yeah,
but my point is, Clemson wouldn't be where they are right now if they hadn't given Dabo the time.
Yeah, but Muschamp wasn't showing no progress. He was just showing decrease.
Yeah, I'm not blaming them for firing Muschamp. I mean, everybody told them they were stupid for hiring Muschamp in the first place because he had already fucked up in Florida.
Everywhere he went, he messed up.
Well, that's the only 2 places he's been a head coach.
Dude, and Florida
He's a good
State fans right now.
He's a good D coordinator. I'll give him that.
Yeah, Florida State fans right now, they want him as a defensive coordinator.
He
And
is a good
I've been hearing some of the Miami fans too saying that they want him as a defensive coordinator over Blake. Miami boy, thank you for the $5 donation. Like I'm out T2Y 6 a.m. Come quick work day. Yeah, I gotta be at work at 6 too.
All right, boss man.
All right, Miami, take it easy. Yeah, I'll probably be on for another 20 minutes or so. But Will Muschamp, man, a lot of people saying they want him over Baker. Oh, that's a touchdown for the channel. Thank you, Miami boy.
Well, here's my thing, and this is how I'm looking at it. Okay, everybody's hollering about Blake Baker. Virginia score. How many points did Virginia score on us? 14.
Yeah.
How many points did Virginia score on North Carolina?
That I don't know.
4-5.
Right. And then with us, let me see. Well, the Pitt, I think the Pitt game a lot of people have been looking at too, because we went out and we beat Pitt 31-19. And then Notre Dame come back the week right after and beat them 48-3. So now everybody's looking at it like a week ago we barely escaped with a win on them. We barely held them off. And here come Notre Dame just out of nowhere, just boom, blows them out and made our win look, huh?
Notre Dame's a better team than we are. People have got to face facts.
It's hard to say it, and it's hard to accept it too.
For some people, yeah. For me, it's real easy.
See, a lot of people don't want to accept that right now or this season because it's so much hatred between Miami and Notre Dame, and especially Notre Dame coming into the ACC this season around, which I still think the ACC commissioner is a big puss for letting them come in. I agree totally with the Pitt head coach when he said that we should boycott them. Either you're gonna play or you're not. But we ain't giving you no 5 or 6 game every season. It's either you're gonna play with us or you ain't gonna play with us. Go somewhere else. You in this conference in everything but football.
Well, and let's not forget, they've done the same thing to the Big Ten, so the ACC commissioner ain't the first one to do it.
Yeah, see, that's my thing too. The Big Ten, they wouldn't have gave them those games this season.
Well, no, you know how Notre Dame plays like 4 or 5 ACC teams every year?
Yeah.
They were doing that with the Big Ten before they were the ACC.
Right. They've been bouncing around forever. But the ACC is the only one that bowed down to them because giving them every other sport except for football. It's like all the coaches that feel that way, all the teams, in the conference need to come together and say, look, it's either they come in or they don't. We're not playing them.
It's too late now.
But yep, plain and simple, too late. Now Notre Dame, let's just say they beat Clemson. Let's just say that, which I don't believe it. You don't believe it, but let's just say it happens. They win an ACC championship. That gonna make this whole freaking conference look like an idiot.
Yep, sure is.
The whole conference. And then we're going to hear all other fan base, oh, look, Notre Dame went in there and won the championship their first time around. Miami ain't win one in 16 years. We're going to have to deal with that crap, too.
Well, as long as you know enough about the other team, dude, I've shut up Alabama.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, it's just so much. I got a
That's the
Florida
thing.
State fan. Every time he comes into any video that I make, all he says is Miami's been in the ACC this long. They ain't win no ACC championship, this, that. And I'll be like, come on, bro. That shit gets old. But every video I make about Florida State, that's the same thing he says over and over. Can you imagine Notre Dame winning the championship? Then we gonna have to. He probably gonna add that to the end of it too.
See, that kind of crap don't bother me.
It
And
don't bother me, but it's
I got
annoying.
plenty of ammo for Florida State and Notre Dame, so I ain't sweating it. That's the whole thing. You have to know enough, not just about your team, but the team you're trying to talk shit about.
Right.
I know Notre Dame. I know enough on Notre Dame. I know enough on Alabama. That's why I'm able
For
to
a
shut up
while.
an Alabama fan talking shit.
Yeah. See, for me, being a young fan, I didn't have to deal with Notre Dame much. You know, I didn't grow up in the eight. I didn't grow up watching football in the '80s, and around the time when Miami and Notre Dame was heated rivalries and stuff like that.
Neither one of
So,
us did.
so it's kind of right now Notre Dame popping back up, and 2017 we beat the brakes off of them, and it hasn't really been much talk the years before that. But I mean,
Lou Holtz put an end to that. Lou Holtz is the reason our yearly series against Notre Dame ended because Jimmy Johnson told him he was going to slap that list right out of him.
oh
Still
my
running scared.
man, and what's crazy too. If we had a yearly thing going with them, and we was in the ACC, they would have either had to give that up or join. Let me ask you this: when we joined the ACC, at this moment, do you wish we would have joined the SEC instead?
I don't think it really matters. Now, the SEC is not this big bad conference they try and make out to be, and even fans of SEC teams know it.
I know, but I mean, going up against teams like Alabama, LSU, and all those, we probably would have been on the same side with Georgia and Florida
We'd
on
have
the
been in
East.
the East, but I mean, here's the thing: Alabama's been on its run. Okay,
I think,
LSU. This is the first thing LSU's done in in more than a decade. Hell, LSU ain't even beat Alabama since 2011.
yeah, but I'm wondering where we would be, what it would look like right now for Miami if we had actually joined the SEC.
I mean,
'Cause
if they made the same coaching hires, we'd be in the same place.
Mm.
I mean, that's the thing. They've made some good coaching hires, some bad coaching hires.
Because I know one of the main reasons we even joined this conference was to play Florida State twice a year, which has never happened.
Well, and here's the thing: you don't necessarily want to play Florida State twice a year.
Well,
It's
not
hard to beat.
not these past 4 years.
Well, not even that. It's hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year. I mean, anybody.
Yeah, they just looked at it as a rating standpoint, and the rivalry between Miami and Florida State back then, 2014, it was still very hyped.
Well, they also knew that it was going to the Power Five conferences, and the ACC made a play to get Miami and Virginia Tech to make sure that they were going to be one of the Power Five conferences.
Right.
I mean, that's really what that boils down to.
But can you imagine if we had actually went into the SEC? Man, that would have been crazy. But no games, man. No games till December 5th. If we have games December 5th. Sheesh. God.
Here's the thing. Say we get through this year with one more loss. Okay. We would end the season 9-2. I ain't mad about that. They proved me wrong in some things this year. They proved me wrong in some other things. but still have opportunities to do so. If they do it, great. This team's moving forward. Keep the coaching staff in place and let them develop. And it's going to take 3 years of that to get back to being a consistently good team.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if things keep going the way they're going, I mean, next season, let's say we go back to Notre Dame not being here, Atlantic and Coastal, and we carry on the same momentum that we got going on now, we're gonna start competing for ACC titles. Guaranteed that we get over the hump, with Virginia Tech or North Carolina.
You win the Coastal 2 years in a row. Maybe by the third one, you're good enough to finally compete with Clemson.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. People got mad at Mark Richt in year 3 because the wheels fell off the bus. Well, number one, sometimes that just happens when you're on your way up. It just does.
Yep.
Number two, people
can't have your son as a quarterback coach.
Man, I don't even care about that. I really don't, because that crap happens everywhere in the country. It's going on in Clemson right now. There's no reason whatsoever Eric Venables should be on scholarship, but he is because the daddy's his defensive coordinator.
Oh, both of his sons.
Yeah. Well, no, one of them's actually really good. The other one isn't.
Right. I mean, look at Deion. Deion's son's going to play for him.
Exactly. That kind of crap happens. I don't care about that. But if you look at Malik was just as good as Malik is going to be. Now, I can blame Mark Richt for the whole flip-flop quarterbacks in 2018 between him and Cozy. He knows better than that. That I will blame him for. And he knows he knows
we
better
saw
than
that last season, too, the flip-flopping.
Exactly. Now, granted, last season the hand was kind of forced because of injury.
Yeah, because I know they flipped.
I really can't blame them.
They flipped from Jaron when Jaron threw those 3 interceptions against Virginia Tech.
Well, they said he injured the shoulder.
Yeah, and then Perry came in and almost won the game. So then he got the start, and then we barely beat Virginia, and then the next game came around was Pitt, and then they switched them back.
Well, they didn't switch them out until the fourth quarter, though.
Yeah. And
they swapped them out in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Jaron threw that game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, the KJ Osborne.
Yeah. So, I mean, his hand was kind of forced in that game. He ain't had no choice but to pull Perry.
But I ain't know Jaron Williams was taking back any shots. I didn't know he was showing up to work drunk.
And that one, I can't put on nobody but Manny.
Man, that's tough, man.
Because everybody heard it last year. Dan Eno preferred Perry over Williams.
Yeah,
that was clear as day.
That's why I'm kind of glad that when Reed Lashley came in, he actually let him do his own thing. But
no, they didn't, because they just brought in De'Aaron King and made him the starter.
Yeah, but that was Reed Lashley's move to bring him in. Reed Lashley told the quarterbacks straight up. He told Nicoles, he told Jaron Williams, all of them, look.
Oh, I know that.
I'm going in there. I'm going to get me a quarterback that ran my system, that I know is what it is.
Well, therein lies my problem with Red Lashley, because he ain't running that stuff.
Because I mean, it's the inconsistencies with Reed Lashley, but he got a lot of time and room to adjust. He got 2 weeks.
Yeah, he got 2 weeks, and then especially if they drop these last 3 games, everybody gonna be hollering a fire.
Well, actually, he got 3 weeks since we're not playing this weekend.
Yeah. And let me tell you, we very well could lose that North Carolina game.
Can you sit
Uh,
That is
down?
I
very
tell
real.
you what, depending on how we look playing against Wake Forest, I could tell if we're gonna lose that North Carolina game or not.
Guess what? Wake Forest put points up on people this year too.
Yeah, those none of the games on our schedule right now. Other, I'll sleep on Georgia Tech, but I'm not sleeping on Wake Forest and North Carolina.
You know what? With this team, I can't sleep on nobody. We're on a 2-game losing streak to Georgia Tech.
Yeah, but I've seen Georgia Tech's. I've been watching them for the past couple days because I've been planning out making these videos, putting in their players, their stats, and all that crap into it. Watching their the way they run, watching their quarterback play, and all that stuff, so I can have some trash to talk.
Well, you
They
know something
look
Georgia
terrible.
Tech is? Georgia Tech is better than they were last year.
Yeah, but not too bad, too much better. They what 2-6, I think, 2-5, 2-6.
Well, and they knew, you know, switching from a triple option over to what this guy's running was going to take a few years, and they know that. But they're better than they were last year, and they beat us last year.
I tell you what, they came out and beat Florida State, shocked the world, and then after that went downhill. But you know what I noticed about them while I was doing my research?
What's
They
that?
beat Florida State and I think it was Syracuse. Was it Syracuse? I forgot who they beat. The second team they beat, but they beat those two teams. But every loss that they've taken has been a blowout.
Oh yeah. Well,
All five games that they lost.
because their quarterback's a freshman, and what are all freshmen? Inconsistent.
Right, their running backs are freshmen too.
Yeah,
See, and
inconsistent.
that's the thing that's gonna bother me.
And
If
that's
we play them and we don't blow them out after every loss that they've taken has been a blowout. If we win the game and it's close and I show that I'm like pissed about it, or if we don't move up in the ranks or we drop again, people gonna think, okay, they hating on Miami. No, they not. Georgia Tech. If we don't blow Georgia Tech out after every loss they've taken has been a blowout, if we hang with them a close game, that means we're not elite. We're not on the level that we think we are. Because every other team they lost to, every single team Georgia Tech lost to, is a blowout.
well, we're not on the level that a large percentage of the fan base we are. Because how many people and I saw the comments, there were a bunch of them actually thought that we were going to beat Clemson.
Man, I thought we had a chance to beat them. I
And
thought we had a chance to beat them.
what did I say? I said if they played a perfect game, they could keep it close.
Yeah, I thought we
And
had a
yes,
chance
you
to
have a
beat
chance.
them.
I mean, at any given
But
Sunday.
penalties. That's another thing too. Last game, I think we had 8 penalties for 77 yards. And then I look at Virginia Tech and they got 2 penalties for 10 yards. So I'm like, so undisciplined, man.
It is very.
Penalties kill us every game, especially when you compare our penalties to the other teams. I'm like, we had what 7 penalties for 8 penalties. I'm sorry, 8 penalties for 77 yards. They had 2 for 10. Can you imagine what we would have did with 2 for 10? If we had only given up 2 penalties for 10 yards, we probably would have won with way more points than that.
I mean, you're talking adding another touchdown to it, maybe, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I mean, you never can tell. Are those? They don't tell you if they're on offense or defense. Could it be what stalled out an offensive drive? Could it be what extended a Georgia Tech drive?
Man, all I know is I just want to see my Canes win. I just want to see them dominate too.
Well,
I'm tired of the disrespect.
well, and here's the thing that you have to leave a coaching staff in there and let them do their thing. You
Trust
want
me,
an elite team,
I'm
you
all
want
with I'm all in with Manny right now. I'm all in with him. Blake Baker, like I said in my video earlier, I don't want nobody to fight Blake. I just want him to do better.
and
Just
there are things Blake needs to work on, but if you go look at obviously with the certain exceptions of like Notre Dame and Clemson, it's scoring more points on everybody else. Virginia's scoring more points on everybody else. Louisville's scoring more points on everybody else.
right.
With all the rule changes, we're in an age of offense. You're not unless you're an elite team, you're not going to hold one of these lesser teams 3 points or just a touchdown. And we're not an elite team. That takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Manny,
said it till
even
I'm blue in
Manny, yeah, even Manny came out and said it today. We're not an elite team.
well, and I've said it till I'm blue in the face. It took Nick Saban 3 years to turn Alabama around and win a national title, and he was already a college Hall of Fame coach. You're wanting Manny to do it. A lot of this fan base in less time than that on his very first head coaching job.
Hold on, what? Jamaica Kings, you playing? Or you just saying? He said the season over right now. We have no more games to play.
Not for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, hopefully that's what I'm saying. Hopefully it's just till December 5th. I hope they didn't announce canceling the season or nothing like that. Cause then that would be crazy. As a matter of fact, let me go check. Let me check. Let me check. Don't tell me that. Do not tell me they canceled the season, because then I might cry. Yeah, no updates. Yeah, no more. No more updates. Thank God.
I mean, here, there's something Lou likes to say, and I completely agree with it. There's only 2 teams in the whole out of 130 D1 teams that should have the mentality national championship or bust. I mean, we've won 1 bowl game since 2006. How about we work on that before we start worrying about winning the ACC and making the playoffs?
Yeah. Trying to win the ACC and the playoffs and all that, it comes with bowl games too.
But we can't even beat the walk. We can't even win the walk-on bowl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, last year was just a disaster, man.
Well, not even that. How many bowl games did Al Golden go to? He only missed 2, so he went to 3 others that he lost.
Come to think about it, tomorrow I'm a what you call it. I'm gonna see how like the schedule, us redoing our schedule, how that affect the rest of the teams. Because I know we were supposed to play Georgia Tech this week, and then right after we were supposed to play Wake Forest. So I'm gonna
But
see how that trips up.
reschedules them too.
Uh,
This week, as long as they're not having trouble with whoever they're
whoa,
playing.
hold on. Now I'm hearing Lashley to South Carolina.
Bye.
Now I heard that too. I heard that, but he addressed that in the press conference earlier. So
There's going to be a whole bunch of rumors floating around.
man, let's just hope it's just a rumor, because he said he didn't. He said he weren't going nowhere.
Yeah, they all say that until they.
He all said, you're right about that.
Like I said, he kicked rock for all I'm concerned. He ain't showing me nothing.
Open the door.
So I'm taking everybody else's mentality. Fuck them, get rid of them. Next.
Man, he said he ain't going nowhere. The
Well,
latest update was his interview, his press conference when he said he ain't going nowhere. So
we'll run through every offensive coordinator in the country for all I care. Turn them
yeah,
all
well,
till they
and
win a national
that's
championship.
another thing too. When they asked Manny about that, they asked him how he feel about Reed might move on and this and that, and is they molding anybody to fill in that spot like a Rob Likens or anybody. This dude went around the whole dang question and didn't even answer it.
Well, he said he wasn't going to answer it. He don't like answering hypothetical questions like that.
Man, we need to know we got a backup plan. Plain and simple. This man could go. We need to know that our offense ain't going down the drain any
Man,
second.
well, guess what? As long as Derek King's here, the offense is here. That's the only difference. That's it.
Oh man, Fresh says get the Liberty offensive coordinator. I get what he trying to say. They know how to put up points.
Yeah, well, guess what? Liberty ain't got an offensive coordinator. Their head coach is their offensive coordinator.
I mean, a lot of people have been saying our defensive coordinator should be our head coach.
Yeah, well, that shit don't work in Power 5 football. I promise you.
All right, man. Let me get out of here, man. I got to get ready for work tomorrow. This was an unexpected live, but I only went live because I think it was either Lenore's or somebody told me to go live, but I'm gonna get out of here. This was unexpected, but all right, man. Catch y'all later. Y'all have a good night. No football for 3 weeks, so bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Take it easy.
All right, boss.
All right.